in the picture is Nathan Victor Rothschild. Today is January 30th, 2026. Nathan R. Grove, date of birth, relationship to applicant, 12/23, 1958, sister. May 3rd, 2007, grandson, Nathan R. Grove. The sister, born 1958, would be Jean Ray Malone. Relationship to adverse party, no, Nevada Supreme Court. Application for protection order, violation of extended order against stalking or harassment, in violation of NRS 259.15b, a Category C felony, down or about August 3rd, 2025, within Dayton Township, Lyon County, Nevada. The said defendant intentionally violated an extended order against stalking or harassment issued by the Dayton Justice Court, served on August 23rd, 2024, valid until July 2nd, 2026, and the defendant violated the extended order in the manner following, to wit, the defendant posted a threatening message directed at Julia Bice on Facebook, all of which occurred at or near 2031 Lonnie Lane, Dayton, Nevada. All of which is contrary to the form of statute in such cases made and provided, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Nevada. Complainant prays. You're not preying on anyone there. Are you, Stephen B. Rye? False charges, entrapment, embellishment, framing, planting of false evidence, modifying the data devices, breaking and entering into people's homes, modifying devices. Who's David Fritz? Did he teach anyone around here across the street breaking and entering skills besides planting plants in the front yard? Provided against the peace and dignity of the state of Nevada. Complainant prays that a summons and or warrant be issued and that said defendant be dealt with according to law. I declare under penalty of perjury under the state law of the state of Nevada that the foregoing is true and correct. Dated this August 6, 2025, on the anniversary of the bombing of Hiroshima in Japan, August 6, 1945, Stephen B. Rye, District Attorney. 529 bracket C, as in Class C felony. The entire purport of this fourth vow of obedience to the Pope was and is with regard to missions, and this is how the bulls should be understood, as in the Chicago Bulls. Robert Francis Prevost, Pope Leo XIV is from Chicago at the Vatican, and he's going to be retiring by 2028 for Cardinal Louis Sacco of Baghdad to be elected Pope at the Vatican, with Jeffrey Burwell elected Jesuit Superior General of the Society of Jesus between 2026 and 2027. And all that the sovereign pontiff may command, and wherever he may send one, and so on. The Constitution of the Society of Jesus, the complementary norms, a complete English translation of the official Latin text, the Institute of the Jesuit Sources, St. Louis, Cardinal Louis Raphael Sacco. Raphael Warnock is the son of Cardinal Louis Raphael Sacco. William, Prince of Wales. My name is William Francis Dunn IV. William Arthur Philip Lewis, as in Cardinal Louis Sacco. Born 21st June 1982, is the heir apparent to the British throne. He is the elder son of King Charles III and Diana, Princess of Wales. William was born during the reign of his paternal grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II. He was educated at Wetherby School, Ludgrove School, and Eton College. He earned a Master's of Arts degree in geography at the University of St. Andrews, where he met his future wife, Catherine Middleton. My sister's name is Catherine Logan Dunn, lives in Emeryville, as in Robert Francis Leo, Pope Leo XIV, Emeritus, Emeryville, Emeritus in the year 2028. Sitting next to Cardinal Louis Sacco, just like Cardinal Ratzinger, Pope Benedict XVI, sitting next to Pope Francis. Robert Francis Prevost. Legal name, papal name is Pope Leo XIV, and Jorge Mario Bergoglio is Pope Francis before him. They had 3 children, George Charlotte, as in Charles, and Louis, as in Cardinal Louis Sacco of Baghdad. William, Prince of Wales, has a son named Louis. Lyon County, Nevada Sheriff Sergeant Nathan Cooper, Nathan Victor Rothschild, Nathan Grove. Sergeant Nathan Cooper detained me August 27, 2024. And I was up at Mallory. Did anyone modify my bedroom while I was up at Mallory? I happily come home from Mallory, and I go right back to reading and studying and pasting. Just every day. Nathan Philip Victor James Rothschild, 5th Baron Rothschild, born 12th July 1971, is a British-born Canadian financier and hereditary peer who was a member of the Rothschild banking family of England. Rothschild became the 5th Baron Rothschild on the death of his father, which would be Jacob Rothschild, I think, on 26 February 2024. Wikipedia. The July 7th, 2005 London bombing, sometimes referred to informally as 7/7, was a series of 4 coordinated suicide attacks carried out by Islamist terrorists that targeted commuters traveling on London's public transport during the morning rush hour. Charles III, Charles Philip Arthur George Charlotte. Charlotte's a female name for Charles. Born November 14, 1948, is King of the United Kingdom and 14 other Commonwealth realms. And there are 14 stations of the cross and the 14th spiritual exercise of loyal. Princess Charlotte of Wales, Charlotte Elizabeth Diana, born 2nd May 2015, is member of the British royal family. She is the second child and only daughter of William and Prince of Wales and Catherine, Princess of Wales, and a granddaughter of King Charles III and Diana, Princess of Wales. She is the third in the line of succession to the British throne. So if anything happens to King Charles III and Prince William, there's your new Queen of England, and they might be pegged to be a Bloody Mary, a type of Bloody Mary. I don't know. Prince Andrew might be at his limit at this point. This would be Sarah Mullally doing. Dame Sarah Elizabeth Mullally, born 26 March 1962, is an English Anglican prelate and former nurse. She has been the Bishop of London since 2018 and is the first woman to hold this office by virtue of her office. She is also Lord Spiritual, one of the 26 Church of England bishops who sit in the House of Lords of the Parliament of the United Kingdom. On October 3rd, 2025, is announced that Mullally would become the 106th Archbishop of Canterbury in January 2026. This month. She will be the first woman to hold the office. All Saints Church is an active English-speaking chaplaincy of the Church of England's diocese in Europe, a part of the Anglican Communion in Rome, Italy. The church building is a Gothic Revival red brick construction situated in the Via del Babino, about 100 meters from the Spanish Steps. In Hebrew, the word seraph means burning and is used 7 times throughout the text of the Hebrew Bible as a noun, usually to denote serpent, twice in the book of Numbers, once in the book of Deuteronomy, and 4 times in the book of Isaiah. Revelation 17:3, henceforth is propounded the type of Babylon and the state thereof in 4 verses after a declaration of the type. In the rest of this chapter, in the type are described 2 things, the beast of whom chapter 13 and verse 3, and the woman that sitteth upon the beast, verses 4, 5, 6, the beast in process of time hath gotten somewhat more than was expressed in former vision. First, in that it is not read before, that he was apparelled in scarlet, a robe imperial and of triumph. And there's a video of Raphael Warnock on YouTube wearing all red shirt on a football field. Secondly, in that this is full of names and blasphemy. Another carried the name of blasphemy only in his head. So God did teach that this beast is much increased in impiety and injustice, and doth in this last age triumph in both these more insolently and proudly than ever before. Revelation 17:3, a scarlet color that is with a red and purple garment, and surely it was not without cause that the Roman clergy were so much delighted with this color. That harlot, the spiritual Babylon, which is Rome, she is described by her attire and profession and deeds. Revelation 17:4. These are study notes from the Geneva Bible, 1599 Geneva Bible. Revelation 17:16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast are they that shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Read full chapter footnote. Revelation 17:16. The 10 kings, as verse 12, the accomplishment of this fact and event is daily increased in this our age by the singular providence and most mighty government of God. Wherefore the facts are propounded in this verse, and the cause of them in the verses following. The Union General. Meanwhile, the nationalist and reactionary parties in France desired to counterbalance the Semitic influence of the Rothschilds by establishing a banking concern which should be essentially Catholic. Accordingly, in 1876, the Union General was founded with a capital of 4 million francs. It increased to 25 million francs in 1878 under the direction of certain Bontoul. After various vicissitudes graphically described by Zola in his novel La Argent, the union failed and brought many of the Catholic nobility of France to ruin, leaving the Rothschilds still more absolutely the undisputed leaders of French finance, but leaving also a legacy of hatred which had much influence on the growth of the anti-Semitic movement in France. Something analogous occurred in England when the century-long competition, the Barings and the Rothschilds, culminated in the failure of the former in 1893. But in this case, the Rothschilds came to the rescue of their rivals and prevented a universal financial catastrophe. It is a somewhat curious sequel to the attempt to set up a Catholic competitor to the Rothschilds, that at the present time the latter are the guardians of the papal treasure. Of recent years, the Rothschilds have consistently refused to have anything to do with loans to Russia, owing to the anti-Jewish legislation of that empire, though on one occasion the members of the Paris House joined a loan to demonstrate their patriotism as Frenchmen. Rothschild, JewishEncyclopedia.com. This is Nathan Victor Rothschild. That's Prince William. And this is Sarah Mullally, the Archbishop of the Anglican Church of England. And Cardinal Louis Sacco shaking hands. Future Pope shaking hands with the current Pope, Robert Francis Prevost of Chicago, Illinois. Pope Leo XIV. California Legislature 1953 11th Report, Senate Investigating Committee on Education, Communism, and the Illuminati, page 169, 170 of the 11th Report, State Senate Investigating Committee on Education, published by the Senate of California, talks about communism's links to the Bavarian Illuminati. California Legislature 1953 regular session, 11th Report, Senate Investigating Committee on Education. Members of the committee: Senator Nelson S. Dilworth, Chairman; Arthur H. Breed; Hugh P. Donnelly; Senator Fred Waybrett; Senator J. Howard Williams; Mrs. Marianne Core, Research and Investigation, published by the Senate of the State of California; Godwin J. Knight, President of the Senate; Harold J. Powers, President pro tempore; Joseph A. Beek, Secretary, page 168, Investigating Committee Report on Education. Since many intelligent persons, even in high official positions, do not appear to have acquainted themselves with the real nature and seriousness of communism, it is perhaps appropriate to give briefly some really informative and authentic data concerning it. Communism and Russia are by no means synonymous. Russia merely occupies the unfortunate position of being communism's first victim. Communism is synonymous with world revolution and seeks the destruction of all nations, including abolition of patriotism, religion, marriage, the family, private property, and all political and civil liberties, and the establishment of a worldwide dictatorship of the so-called proletariat, which is an autocratic, self-constituted dictatorship by a small group of self-perpetuating revolutionists. See report number 2290, House of Representatives, 71st Congress, 3rd Session. So-called modern communism is apparently the same hypocritical and deadly world conspiracy to destroy civilization that was founded by the secret order of the Illuminati in Bavaria on May 1st, 1776, and that raised its hoary head in our colonies here at critical periods before the adoption of our federal constitution. 1953 Chevrolet 3100 for sale, Nevada license plate 532V76, 2031 Lonnie Lane, Nevada. Pay off the Greater Nevada mortgage for a stable house for my mother, Susan Dunn. Phone number 775-400-4535. It was while investigating the Little Rock integration incident in 1957 that I first learned of Pike's rapid advance in Freemasonry, and knowing that Weishaupt, using Thomas Jefferson and Moses Holbrook, had infiltrated Illuminists into Masonic lodges of America, I decided I would find out if the fact that Pike's mansion in Little Rock had 13 rooms had any significance. 13 figures prominently in satanic Luciferian Kabbalistic ritual codes and writings. Satan Prince of This World by William Guy Carr. Bill and Hillary Clinton National Airport, also known as Adams Field, as an Adam and Eve, is a joint civil military airport on the east side of Little Rock, Arkansas. It is operated by the Little Rock Municipal Airport Commission. The Harris family lived in Berkeley until they moved in 1966, around Kamala's second birthday. The Harrises lived for a few years in college towns in the Midwest. Little Rock, Arkansas is part of the Midwest, where her parents held teaching or research positions. Urbana, Illinois, where her sister Maya was born in 1966, Evanston, Illinois, and Madison, Wisconsin. By 1970, the marriage had faltered, and Shaimala moved back to Berkeley with her 2 daughters, Berkeley, California. The couple divorced when Kamala was 7. In 1972, Donald Harris accepted a position at Stanford University. Kamala and this is where Pastor Melissa Scott's husband, who was a pastor, went to school, went to university. Kamala and Maya spent weekends at their father's house in Palo Alto and lived at their mother's house in Berkeley during the week. Shaimala was friends with African-American intellectuals and activists in Oakland and Berkeley. In 1976, she accepted a research position at McGill University School of Medicine and moved with her daughters to Montreal, Quebec. This is where Jeffrey Burwell is Jesuit superior of. As of this time, Toronto, Canada, Toronto, Ontario, and Montreal, Quebec. Kamala graduated from Westmont High School on Montreal Island in 1981. Kamala Harris is the first child of President Bill Clinton through an affair, born before Chelsea Clinton in 1964. Danny Lee Williams Jr., born December 7, 1985, is a man from Little Rock, Arkansas, who claims to be the biological son of Bill Clinton, the former president of the United States. Blood tests ruled out Clinton as a father. As of September 2025, there has been no 37th General Congregation of the Society of Jesus. The most recent assembly was the 36th General Congregation, GC36, which met in Rome in October 2016, a month before Donald Trump was elected president. What is a general congregation? A general congregation is the highest governing body of the Society of Jesus, a Catholic religious order. A GC can be called for 2 main reasons: to elect a new superior general. This happens when the previous superior general resigns or dies. In 2016, GC 36 was called after Father Adolfo Nicholas announced his resignation. This is where Arturo Abascal Sosa was elected. He was born November 12, 1948. I was born November 12, 1980. 1987 Slammy Awards. The Slammy Awards returned a year later now, honoring the events and individuals involved within the professional wrestling aspect of the World Wrestling Federation. The second edition of the ceremony, referred to in commercials and on air as the 37th Annual Slammy Awards, took place on December 16, 1987 from Caesars Atlantic City, New Jersey. It aired in syndication on December 19, 1987. The ceremony was hosted by Jesse Ventura and Gene Okerlund. Musical numbers were performed by Vince McMahon singing Stand Back and Jimmy Hart singing Girls in Cars, with the entire WWF roster performing If You Only Knew as the show's closing number. Winners are listed first, highlighted in boldface. So the 37th Congregation of the Society of Jesus, they're going to actually have one here relatively soon. Jeffrey S. Burwell, S.J., named Society of Jesus, named next provincial of the Jesuits of Canada, March 15, 2024. The Society of Jesus, the Jesuits, announced the appointment of Father Jeffrey S. Burwell, S.J., as the next provincial of Jesuits of Canada. This appointment is a culmination of a thoughtful, prayerful process of consultation and discernment, making a significant milestone for the Canadian province. Trump Vance meet with Pope Leo's Florida brother, a major MAGA fan, at White House. Kim Luciani. President Donald Trump met with Pope Leo XIV's brother Louis Prevost at the White House. A papal renunciation, also called a papal abdication, occurs when the current pope of the Catholic Church voluntarily resigns his position as a pope, conventionally holds the office for life. A papal renunciation is an uncommon event before the 21st century. Only 5 popes unambiguously resigned with historical certainty. All between the 10th and 15th centuries, there are disputed claims of 4 popes having resigned, dating from the 3rd to the 11th centuries. A 5th disputed case may have involved an anti-pope. Louis Raphael Sacco, Louis Prevost, Louis Raphael Sacco is going to be the next pope, born on the 4th of July. America's Independence Day is what they say. Really was the Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1948, is a Chaldean Catholic prelate. Robert Francis Prevost is fleecing America, painfully going to sell it out to the Cardinal of Baghdad, and this was what the Iraq War, Desert Storm, all that was all about, to get Saddam Hussein on the way, to get this guy to the Vatican. Louis Raphael Sacco, prelate who has served as Patriarch of Baghdad since February 1st, 2013. Pope Francis made him a cardinal on June 28th, 2018. Presidential elections are scheduled to be held in the United States on November 7th, 2028 to elect the President and Vice President of the United States for a term of 4 years. Raphael, as in Louis Raphael Sacco, Raphael Gamil Warnock, born July 23, 1969, is an American politician and Baptist pastor serving as a junior United States Senator from Georgia, a state he has held since 2021, a member of the Democratic Party. Warnock has been the senior pastor of Lannis Ebenezer Baptist Church since 2005. Louis Raphael Gamil Warnock Sacco, born July 4th, is a Chaldean Catholic prelate, served as Patriarch of Baghdad since February 1st, 2013. Raphael Gamil Warnock is the son of Cardinal Louis Raphael Sacco. The United States presidential line of succession is the order in which the Vice President of the United States and other officers of the United States federal government assume the powers and duties of the U.S. presidency or the office itself in the instance of succession by the Vice President upon elected president's death, resignation, removal from office, or incapacity. Tulsi Gabbard's been a member of Congress, has been Director of National Security, National Intelligence, and it looks like they are, I don't know what the term is, planned to be the Speaker of the House by 2028, 2029, is an American politician, maybe 2030, and they're going to be president, 50th president of the United States. This is what looks like the plan. Is an American politician, a military officer. So they're from the 50th state, Hawaii, serving since 2025 as the 8th Director of National Intelligence, DNI. She has held the rank of Lieutenant Colonel in the U.S. Army since 2021 and previously served as U.S. Representative for Hawaii's 2nd Congressional District from 2013 to 2021.